If you're thinking about it, it's because something inside you is saying your kids need something that they're not getting. It's actually going to streamline your teaching and not feel like one more thing. It's going to feel like, wow, I get to create. I get to think about my lessons more completely with the whole child in mind, which is something I think we do. But to be honest, we don't always.
That was Doreen, a fourth grade teacher who took my course and reset her classroom into a place of calm connection and creativity, a place where she was engaging students with the arts and supporting their social emotional growth. I can't wait for her to tell you more about her story. This episode is going to be a treat for you to hear and for me to share. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. Not so long ago, I had a chat with Doreen, and that turned into her sharing so much of what is going on in her classroom and how with a few powerful, intentional tweaks, things were transformed. Now, if you've been part of the challenge, you know that we've talked about these 3 things that make a huge impact on student behavior and on teacher burnout. Doreen brings that to life as she talks about how her classroom and her teaching has been transformed. Be sure to listen for her examples of classroom culture, student engagement through the arts, and supporting her students' social and emotional growth. Now for Doreen, a veteran teacher who actually knew she wanted to be a teacher from the moment she stepped into school in kindergarten, yep, you'll actually hear her mention that, she feels the pressures too. So let's start with that.
The hindrance that I feel is in the pressures on teachers to maintain a pace. And even though we're supposed to be looking at SEL, right? And prior to taking your SEAL program, I really felt that pressure. And I thought I was a caring teacher. I tried to connect with my students. I did things like when it was time to write, I would turn on some nice music in the background and talk about how this affects your brain. So I had elements of things that you mentioned. But I always got sidetracked because of, come on, you gotta hurry up. You're not, there's a time element. Now that part hasn't changed. So that is still there for me. And that's my biggest hurdle. How do I maintain my focus on what children really need?
I feel like that's what so many teachers feel, including myself. There's this pressure of having to keep up with everything. And now that includes making sure we're supporting students' SEL. Here's what Doreen had to say.
So what happened was our school got a new superintendent, our district did, and he was promoting social emotional learning. And it was great. And I said, oh my gosh, this is so right up my alley because again, I had elements, right? And I started, I did a little bit of research on it and I even taught a workshop about it. And I was big. My workshop was, how do you embed this into what you're already doing so it's not one more thing? Okay. Well, that fell short because I only have like this much knowledge. And I did the workshop. People were like, oh, that's great. Yep. Because I talked about things like, so you're going to talk about self-awareness, let's say, when you're teaching idioms. And you're teaching idioms and it's about, I don't know, we're all in the same boat. What does that mean? That social awareness, that self-awareness. So just kind of talk about that, like sort of embed it. But it was so haphazard. It was the idea of embedding it where you're bringing the arts into it helps you solidify that. And way to embed it because it's so much more deliberate and explicit. And I think that's the part that was missing before. So I was on this trajectory anyway, but it wasn't feeling good. It was feeling like, oh, don't forget. Oh, yeah, remember to stick that in there. And then I thought a lot about my classroom should just have a culture of SEL, right? It shouldn't be something I have to teach. So I kind of went back and forth. But now I clearly see how powerful it is for students to have it be explicitly connected.
And of course, Doreen is talking about integration, how to integrate these things into your teaching, how to embed them into what you're already doing. That's where the true magic and the transformation can really start to happen.
What really hit home for me and how the course really helped me is in this idea of integration and creating. So those two pieces I didn't create with students. I would say, here, we're doing this. Okay, now you do this. And the best I did in connecting the arts was having them do, an art project along with, let's say we wrote a poem. They might, create an illustration to go with it or something. So, I thought that was integrating arts. But then I took your course and I understood that the arts are more than just drawing. So that was big. But really beyond that, it's this idea of integrating it into everything, right? And the SEL part is integrated and embedded in what you're doing. And it's that idea of being super explicit and just little. So if I am doing, okay, so I don't know, let's say we're about to take a time test because we have to do those, right? Whatever, we're told to do them, so I do them. So I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a moment to breathe because now we're going to be on a timed test, and that can feel funny, right? Do you feel funny? So I'm explicit, and I say, be self-aware. This is important. People who are self-aware are more successful because they know how to manage their feelings. So just think about how you feel right now. Okay, let's breathe or do whatever calming technique you need. And we've practiced those things before because I've been explicit about that. But then I take the instruction that I've done at different points and weave it into something now we're using it and make it purposeful and help them to see how it connects. And that's something I didn't know how to do before. And you made it very just clear. And because it's not, you don't hand us like, here's the script, here's the thing you're going to now try to squeeze into your day. It literally is a change in mindset. And I think that anybody who thinks they're, a teacher who is doing this, being a teacher who cares about social emotional learning and the well-being of their children, I don't think there's a teacher out there who doesn't think that they're doing that, right? I will say that it was eye-opening because I didn't know how much I didn't know.
So what are some of the things that Doreen did to make this happen?
There's lots of things I could share that I thought were very powerful. But just a little thing from the beginning of the year, I took one of your ideas. And so when kids have to put something in their mailbox, I'll say, okay, let's do that like we're little mice. Do that so that we don't hear a sound. Or I say, okay, do that like you're really sad. So remember to be aware of, how you're feeling and how your facial expression is. And how do you carry your body for that? Do you know, and it's something so little. They have to put their stuff in their mailbox anyway. So why not connect it? Do you see? And it's just those little tweaks that you gave that, again, the course was eye-opening to me because I was like, well, that's brilliant, but it's a little thing that I wasn't doing, but now it makes them, oh, I'm self-aware right now. And so I'm teaching the SEL components while they're just putting something in their mailbox.
Just like what Doreen talks about, how it always feels like one more thing is being added to teachers' plates, I know that pressure too. You're expected to handle academics and SEL and behavior and connection and somehow not lose yourself in the process. And that's exactly why I created the Classroom Reset. It is a 6-month group coaching program designed to help you bring calm and joy back into your classroom without adding more to your overwhelm. And while making connections with other teachers just like Doreen so that we can help support each other. Here's the thing. This isn't another binder or another script or another list of things you need to do. Not at all. The Classroom Reset actually makes your teaching life easier. It gives you creative strategies that you can slide into what you're already teaching. It helps you to manage behavior before it spirals, so you're not constantly playing catch up. And it builds routines that actually save you time and mental energy instead of draining it. Think of it this way. Instead of juggling a million little fixes, you'll have one clear reset plan that lightens your load. One clear reset plan that you design to work for your teaching, your style, your content, your grade level, and of course, your students that are right in front of you. The Classroom Reset doesn't pile more on top of your plate, it clears space off of it.
It's that idea that it's not one more thing to do. It's literally a shift in your mindset. It's a shift for me to make that mindset more permanent. And I think that's been the joy of it all. And I've always loved teaching. I mean, I was such a cornball in kindergarten. It was like, I can still remember being a kindergartner and going into my class and being like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I literally thought I was going to be a teacher from the minute I walked into school. And so I've always loved it, but I love it more. And I didn't think that was possible. So I do. And it's because of your program. And I think that's, again, the power of the program. And if more teachers understood that this course is not about one more thing, it's not about checking things off the list, it's about embedding that into how you are and how your culture of your classroom is, right? So I think that's the change in my teaching and how it really impacted my teaching.
So if you're exhausted by constant battle behaviors, if you're tired of feeling ineffective, even though you are a great teacher, if you're just plain worn out from the daily teacher drain, this is for you. Inside the Classroom Reset, I'll walk you through step by step through my entire proven 5-step reset framework. That's where you'll learn how to reframe your mindset so you feel confident and in control. You'll learn practical arts-based strategies that spark student engagement without hours of prep. You'll learn ways to build relationships that stop behavior issues before they even start. And you'll learn simple, sustainable routines that give you back your time and your energy. And the best part, you don't have to wait months to feel relief. You'll be able to use these strategies the very next day in your classroom. Seriously. And you will start feeling that sense of calm and connection right away. Just like Doreen, you're a caring, creative teacher who just wants to make a difference without burning out. And you deserve that. The Classroom Reset is here to help you breathe easier, enjoy your students again, and actually love walking into your classroom every day. And if you join me now through Sunday, you'll be able to take advantage of the amazing challenge bonuses as well. So make sure you go check it out at theinspiredclassroom.com/yes to get all the information about the Classroom Reset and join me today. Now, let's listen to another fun idea that Doreen implemented into her 4th grade classroom.
We did an adaptations unit about plants and animals. And so connecting self-awareness and social awareness in this little activity where we talked about, all right, so they picked an animal, they did some research, they figured out their adaptations and a lot of other things. And then when they went to present their animals, we had them think about how their animals would move and what would their animals feel like if they're the predator or the prey, right? So now you're kind of getting it and getting a little empathy in there too, right? Thinking about the animal, but you're being socially and just saying, again, this is a way of being aware of yourself, right? Because now you're going to be doing these movements. So how does that feel? But then also trying to step in someone else's shoes, even though it was an animal, but how does that animal feel, right? In that movement that they're doing. So again, it's that way of weaving in another piece of the arts, not just draw a picture of the animal, right? Which is what I would have done in the past. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not as powerful, and it's not as integrated so that they really will hold on to the learning.
That's also what I love about the idea of true arts integration. You're not just making it engaging for the students in the moment that they're actually doing the thing, but their learning is going to last so much longer. What I love about what Doreen was able to do as she worked through the content of the course is that she created such a wonderful learning environment. You'll hear me often talk about how important it is to establish a caring classroom culture, and an essential part of that is in the relationships that you foster, not just between you and your students, but also peer to peer. Doreen certainly gets that.
I'm glad you said that about the building relationships, because that's something you always try to do, but I don't know that I explicitly thought about building their relationships and how important, that turning and talking we've always done is, but now we talk about it. Well, how does it feel if someone's not looking at you when you're talking? And when somebody, is twiddling something and you're sharing something, or they, whatever. And again, that's a big part of it.
Another big part of going through the classroom reset is, you. I will always say that you, the teacher, are the most important part of the classroom. You're with the students every single day. You're delivering the lessons. You're setting the culture of your own classroom. And because of that, it's important for me as your coach that you experience that inside your professional development and that you get something that benefits you. So let's hear one of Doreen's personal wins.
A personal win for me is I am somebody who uses a lot of negative self-talk. I just am. And I said, I'm not going to let them grow up that way, right? So I've made it a real mission to have them, use positive self-talk. We always talked about the power of yet, and I make them in the power of their words and how it can change their mindset, because we talk about growth mindset. But because you said self-care is important, because that's here in my notes, I said, I'm not practicing what I preach. Because, so I said, I'm going to hit it hard with them this year. We put it in our little brain journals. Every once in a while, we say, what positive self-talk have you done and stuff? And so now I'm working on that for myself, because of the idea that to be a SEAL teacher means that you're also caring for you and thinking about some of this stuff for you as well, because then you're stronger. So that I have a long way to go, because it's many years of not forgiving mistakes that I'll make when it's just a silly thing, but I'm letting some of that go. So that's a win.
You can really hear how much lighter and more energized Doreen feels after going through this course. And that's what this work is all about, helping you to find that calm and that joy again. Teaching doesn't have to feel so heavy and draining. And with just a few simple shifts, a few simple but intentional tweaks, you can really reset your classroom and your energy. And don't just take it from me. Here's what Doreen herself would tell any teacher who's on the fence about joining.
I would say, do it. Number one, don't hesitate. If you're thinking about it, it's because something inside you is saying your kids need something that they're not getting. It's actually going to streamline your teaching and not feel like one more thing. It's going to feel like, wow, I get to create. I get to think about my lessons more completely with the whole child in mind, which is something I think we do, but to be honest, we don't always. And it is not one more thing to add to your plate. In fact, it takes things off of your plate because it pieces everything together for you and allows you to be creative again. And I think that's something that before it was a little more prescribed what I was doing, even though I thought it was creative if I added some neat slides or I added a little activity. This allows me to think a little bit more creatively about how to teach. And that's when I started teaching. That's the way it felt. So it feels a little bit more, I often say, in fact, when I told the superintendent about, you've got to get this program going, because I said, I feel like a brand new teacher and I've taught for a very long time. And I feel like a brand new teacher in the best sense of the word, the excitement, the joy, the enthusiasm, the looking at kids and saying, oh my gosh, look at just all of it. It came right back. Yeah. So I can't stress enough how much my teaching changed. I'm not sure I can put it into words, but as a teacher, I feel like I connect with students more and more deeply, because I look at them and help them think about themselves as learners in a way that I thought I did before, but I wasn't doing it as deeply. So I think it's just really powerful. It'll fire you up if you need any kind of spark to your teaching. This is going to do it for you. Of all the things I've ever taken, this changed everything I do, everything. And I just feel like it's just powerful. So I wholeheartedly, I would encourage any teacher to look into this, even if just any part of it is going to open your eyes, and then you'll want to do the whole thing. Like, I want to take it all over again, just because I feel like I would benefit from hearing all of it again and all those ideas that you shared. Yeah. So do it. Anybody who is thinking about it, just do it.
Wasn't that powerful? I am so grateful for Doreen sharing her journey, and I hope that her story shows you what is possible for you. Teaching doesn't have to feel like a lineup of hurdles to jump over. Instead, a few powerful, intentional shifts can completely transform your classroom into a place of calm, connection, and creativity. And that's exactly what we'll do together inside the Classroom Reset. If you're ready to feel that same sense of joy in your teaching, this is your next step. And if you join me now through Sunday, you'll be able to take advantage of the amazing challenge bonuses as well. Head to theinspiredclassroom.com/yes and join us. Let's reset your classroom together. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.